Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news as we talk about some very, very big news actually in relation to the transfer budget. Good news, positive news. It's coming from I don't do tears, but this is I don't do crying tears, but it's coming from very, very good sources in relation to Manchester United's transfer budget, and it is good news. So I want to talk about that first of all. I also want to talk about some of these comments from David De Gea. And I do want to talk about this. I mean, look, it's not a West Ham fan channel, but that signing of Scamacca from the Italian striker, I'm really surprised United haven't taken a look at that. And maybe it's good news because maybe we're very confident that we're keeping Ronaldo. Because if Ronaldo was to go, Scamacca for £30 million, I mean, we should be all over that. We should be all over that. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's get straight into the news because I don't want to mess about. So look, this is really good information. Got it this afternoon, spoke to somebody else, they've sort of verified it as well. Very close to the club information this. United's budget is better than we thought. Categorically is. Look, I know people don't want to believe what Richard Arnold said. They don't want to believe the confidence. I mean, there's always an element of distrust and disbelief when it comes to Manchester United. I get that, I have that myself. But categorically, yes, Manchester United's budget is bigger than £120 million. Categorically, yes, the money is there for the manager. There's permutations that may end up with us not spending £120 million. But the reality is, if you look at it like this, and this is what I was told, the money's there for De Jong. We've agreed a deal with Barcelona. So the money's there for De Jong. Add that to what we spent on Lisandro Martinez and Malacia, and that takes you to £120 million. Because we've agreed the fee with Barcelona. People can't argue that the money's not there. We've agreed a fee with Barcelona. That's what Richard Arnold and John Murta were there. So the budget of 120 million is there because it's spent. As long as De Jong says yes, that money's there. Even if he says no, that money was always there. So 120 million. And we're negotiating with Ajax for Antony. So the budget goes bigger than 120 million. Fact, United have signed that off, and if they can get Antony, add that to 120 million, that's the budget of Manchester United this summer. So if that makes you smile on a Friday evening or not, I hope it does. I certainly was calmer when I heard that news. I suppose it's logical in many ways, but to get it confirmed and from very good sources, I do feel more positive about this summer transfer window. There's always a kicker and there's always a negative, but Ten Hag's transfer budget, and I wouldn't be surprised if this hits the press a little bit over the weekend because they should be picking this up or figuring this out anyway. That budget for Ten Hag, and he said it in the press conference today as well. You know, he spoke about the midfield and he spoke about the attack. United have provided a budget for Eric Ten Hag beyond £120 million, beyond £150 million. So, I mean, what do you say about that? I mean, I'm not about to get a Glazer scarf out and say, yes, they're the best owners in the world. But what I would say is that, and look, the proof's in the pudding. They've got to go and achieve it. They have got to do that. But I will sit here and say, look, when they do things that need to be done, I wouldn't go as far as to say I would applaud it because I still think there's a lot more that needs to be done. But I'll certainly acknowledge it and say, look, I'm not going to turn it into a negative and start moaning. If we were to get a spend of £170 million this summer transfer window, realistically, I don't think you can ask for a lot more. We're not Man City. We're not PSG. So it's a positive. It is a positive, and we do spend a lot of times being negative. So, you know, is it nanny, Mark? I hope they do one for me sometime, says the one and only Harry Maguire, the best captain ever. Love you guys. Thank you. Imagine if it was Harry Maguire in the chat. It would be fun. Nathan says, fair play to Arnold if they do it. Now, this is where the kicker comes in. This is where the reality bites, because it doesn't mean we're getting De Jong and Antony. And I think that has to be very important, and that was part of the conversation I had. The money is there for Eric Ten Hag to get what he wants. That's the line from United. And in fairness, that's been the line for the last 2 months. The money is still there for Eric Ten Hag to get the players that he wants. What United will always say is they will not overpay. And I suppose what I would say, and you can't pin them down on this, but what I would say is my interpretation of this is this. We've spent £120 million if we get Frenkie de Jong. I believe United are happy to go to 170 million and spend 50 million pounds on Antony. I don't believe they're happy to go to 180 or 190 million, which would be 60 or 70 million pounds for Antony. And therefore, if they can't get Antony for a price that they want, they might not get Antony. And therefore, our spend may be 120 million. So it's a difficult one for United, and it might be a difficult one for you to understand, because you go, well, our spend's not 170 then, is it? Because we spent 120. But that doesn't mean that we wouldn't move for an Antony alternative. Erik ten Hag was very clear today that he needs another attacker. I know that in the case of De Jong, he said that if he doesn't get De Jong, he will utilise what he's got. But I don't think he can do that up front, because as much as I don't like McTominay and Fred, certainly as a pairing, you've still got De Jong, Eriksen, not De Jong, Donny and Eriksen, and maybe you keep James Garner. But up front, you've got no depth. You've got Sancho, Rashford, Martial, maybe Ronaldo and Elanga. It's not enough. So we'd have to find an alternative to Antony, which is why Antony's pushing for the move. Is it weird that I'm a Liverpool supporter and I like watching the United stand because I like you as a content creator? It's not weird, Nathan. It's not weird. You're only human. You can't help what you're attracted to. De Jong to Chelsea getting some serious legs, says give it to Mikey. What legs are they? I've not heard anything. The only player still at City since Pep joined is De Bruyne. Erik ten Hag needs proper backing, both incomings and outgoings. Exciting potential if he's back, says Alexander. So what I would say about this is, and I don't say it through gritted teeth, because you know me, I like to be a realist, and if it means being negative or being real, as I call it, then I will do it, is that I'm not going to ignore good information, and I'm not going to ignore what I was told, as much as, you know, some people might think it's easier to do, and it'd be easy for me just to ignore that and say I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about how crap the Glazers are. The fact is, this is very good information. Manchester United have the money for De Jong, 120 million, and they have the money to buy Antony for a reasonable sort of 50 million. Our budget is 170 million. I can't argue with that. I'd love it to be 270 million, but wouldn't any club? 170 million for a first summer for Ten Hag is reasonable. You could argue it's decent. That's our budget. The challenge for United is we might not spend that, because if we don't get De Jong and he doesn't want a replacement, our spend at the moment is 60. And then if you buy Antony, it's 110. And then people will go, oh, that's because our budget was only ever 120. I can't do anything about that. But I'm telling you now, if De Jong comes to the club, 120 million pounds has been spent, and if we can get Ajax to sell Antony for 50, 60 million, we'll spend 170, 180. The club will do that. The thing is, can they get that Antony deal done? And will we get De Jong? But I will sit here and not lie and say that that scenario I've just given you, De Jong and Antony for about 50, 60, they would do it right now. If De Jong signed, we've done the fee with Barcelona. If Ajax said, yeah, we'll take 50 million and Laird, signed. They're done. We've spent our money. We work on sales. That would be United summer. And look, I don't know what you would argue. What would you in the chat mark that out of? You know, if I said to you, we've spent 170 million pounds, we've bought Lisandro Martinez, Malacia, Frenkie de Jong, Antony, and we've got Eriksen on a free, 5 players. I'd probably say, I'd be tempted to give it a 7 or an 8. I mean, another midfielder was needed, but where are you going to get the money for that? You know, I think we needed to probably sell a lot more than we're going to sell. So, look, I would take that. So, if the budget is higher than we thought, why have we waited to get this Antony deal done? Could have done it at the start of the window for cheaper. Well, Raz, I wish I was that intelligent to have thought to ask that question at the time, because I'll never understand why we haven't done it. And I always assumed it was because the budget was small. I don't know why we didn't do deals quicker. If we'd have done Lisandro Martinez quicker, we'd have got him cheaper as well. Mark, we have to take into account that Ten Hag will also look to sell about 30 to 40 million worth of players, making our spend a lot less than 170. Yes, David, I completely agree with you on that one. Our net spend will probably be 120 if everything goes to plan. But you could flip that the other way, David, and say if we only spent 120, our net spend would be about 70 when you take the sales off. So it works both ways. What about a right bet and a striker, says Darren. I'm going to talk to you that in a little bit. And just wish the club was more transparent on things. Same with agents and players, says Joel. Not going to be that guy, but the Glazers don't want to overpay for a talent like Antony, but they overpay for a lot from Maguire. That's weird, Nathan. You know, I'd love to sit the club down and say, why did you spend £80 million on Harry Maguire? I'll never understand it. What do you have to say about the Jamie Carragher slander on Ronaldo and United, says Miguel? Well, at the end of the day, I don't listen to Jamie Carragher, apart from to try and do his accent, but I can't really do it. I can't. I'd love to do it. I'd love to have the structure and the players, because when I think about Manchester United, I'm thinking about people like Rashford and Maguire. That's the future, not Varane or Ronaldo. What if they ever won? I'm thinking about English players. That's the future. We've dominated world football since '66. Rashford better than Ronaldo. Maguire not better than Varane. Get out of town. Rubbish. That was absolutely rubbish. What do you have to say? So I haven't seen it. Hi Mark, please call my wife Neris a Pratt, says Messiah. Neris is a cracking name. Dates, Only Fools and Horses. Neris. I think if Ronaldo goes, we need more than 5 players, says Nicola. Yeah, 100%. And I was so happy that Ronaldo returned. I feel even better about this season with proper coaching, says Canna. I've just remembered it's a Friday night show. You might be aware it's a Friday night show because my personality changes a little bit on a Friday night. It somewhat changes because of something. But I will be doing it is a Q&A show, so we will be taking a lot of your questions as well. But yeah, so I've said that. I've got that out of the way. I needed to get that out of the way. I wanted to get that out of the way. Do with it what you want. Believe it if you want. Don't believe it if you don't want to. I get it. I understand why you might not want to get it. But, you know, I'm no lover of the Glazers at all. But that money is there to get De Jong and Antony. Whether we can do that, I mean, look, it's still on the club. The money being there is fine. Can you negotiate it? Let's wait and see. Maguire paid his fee back, got Champions League twice in a row, says Martin. What career mode was that on? And I don't care how much we spent. All I want is Man United players, which is Eric Ten Hag wants. Priority and players based on merit. Happy Friday from the US of A, says Nabil. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone who's tuning in tonight, though. Please do smash a like on the video. And please do subscribe. We're really close to 394,000. We're only about 20 away. So please subscribe. We could hit it tonight. Chelsea Koundé confirmed superior to Martinez, says Naomi. You know what, Naomi? This is not a Chelsea channel, but you lead me into something else. I want to talk about David De Gea's comments as well. I want to talk about what you want to talk about, but I do just want to say this. Our transfer window, we're not living in a bubble. We're living in a Premier League that's got 20 other teams in it. If you are somebody that lives in a bubble and says, I don't care what anybody else is doing, why do you watch the Premier League? Because there's 19 other teams. I don't just watch United. If there's Monday Night Football on, I'll watch it because I want to learn. I love football. I want to see what our opposition are doing. We might be playing them in a couple of weeks. I've always been like that. Chelsea are going to beat us in the transfer window, like they've beaten us probably every year for 15 years. They buy very intelligently, ruthlessly, aggressively. Sterling, Koundé, Koulibaly, and they're not even halfway there. They're going to have a better transfer window than us. What I like about Chelsea is they've completely changed their owner. They're completely changing their recruitment team. But they've gone and done what they used to do anyway. They've lost Christensen and Rudiger. Rudiger, a player that we were linked to that I knew we'd never get. Rudiger, one of the best centre-backs in Europe over the last 18 months. They've lost Rudiger and Christensen and they've replaced them with better players. Christensen and Rudiger are not better than Koundé and Koulibaly. Koundé and Koulibaly. If I said to you, would you rather have Rudiger and Christensen or Koulibaly and Koundé? Take away your Chelsea bias or not liking Chelsea, you all would go Koulibaly and Koundé. Mainly because of my Koulibaly rap. Kalidou Koulibaly. Pockets Firmino and Mane. Yeah, but the reality is, Koulibaly and Koundé, we would take. Many of you like Koundé. Many of you like Koulibaly. So they've gone and lost. A lot of people are like, how do you replace Rudiger? Christensen's going on a free. We go and buy Koulibaly and Koundé. That's what you do. And I'm no fan of Chelsea. I'm not a fan of Chelsea at all. But I am a fan of what they do. They're a football club. They lose players and they don't cry about it. They go and get good deals done. Every penny not spent in the window is a penny into the Glazers' pockets. They will renovate Old Trafford without a handout from the City Council, says Wang. All the good vibes and flowing football were disrupted if Ronaldo returns, says Rash. We finished second without him, blah, 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 boring. You are a bit repetitive, though. I'm going to start calling you UK Gold instead of Rash. We should name these shows as episodes, as you are providing entertainment while discussing with us. That's amazing, says Kartik. Thank you very much, mate. I'm in a company going through a top-to-bottom rebuild, says Brandon. New leadership comes in and brings people they know and trust with them, while reviewing what's already there. This is what Ten Hag is doing. Good, Brandon, I like it. Welcome to the Members Club, Tyrone. Thank you very much. Tyrone, thank you. Another new member, I can't even understand what that is. And as it's a Q&A, would you do a Man United career on Football Manager? Be great, just a suggestion, says Nathan. If I had the time, I would, Nathan. It's always about time and bandwidth with me. It really is. But on the subject there, I did get asked a Chelsea question there, and I do agree with you that Koundé and Koulibaly are very good signings. But you know what? I'm going to be very selfish here. I'm going to throw a question in myself that's got nothing to do with what the show was meant to be about tonight. But Scamacca to West Ham for £30 million. OMG. That means oh my God. It doesn't mean anything else, like over my gonads. But the reality is, I really do think that this is an amazing deal. Because I like Italian football. I've watched Italian football a lot more than any other league apart from the Premier League since 1990. So that's how, a lot of you probably weren't even born then. I love Italian football. Del Piero. I can't think of any other names. Of course I can. Mancini, Vialli, Lombardo. I used to love Sampdoria. Ruud Gullit, Van Basten, Rijkaard, AC Milan, Juventus with Vialli and Baggio. I love Italian football. And Scamacca is a really, really exciting striker. Don't buy him on FIFA. He's absolutely shit. But 23 years of age. I think he's 6'5". He's quite mobile. He's not fast, but for a big guy, he's not small. He is big. For a big guy, he's not small, obviously. He's quite mobile, but pace ain't his thing. He's actually very technical for a bigger player. He's got a ridiculous shot on him. Obviously, he's good in the air. I think that this... look, I've seen plenty... The only sad thing is I've seen plenty of Italian players flop in the... Could I have a bottle, please? At some point. I've seen plenty of Italian players flop in the Premier League, and he might flop. Anybody could flop. De Jong could flop if he came to United. It's not a bad thing if you flop. It's bad for the club, but anybody can flop. But I think he's got... I thought he was going to PSG for 50 million. He's going to West Ham for 30 million. If we lose Ronaldo and we didn't do this deal, I'm stunned. This to me has to suggest that Ronaldo's staying, because Scamacca, when you think about what Ten Hag has done with people like Sebastian Haller, this player, I just think he would have been a really interesting player for us to bring in if Ronaldo had left, because he's completely different to Antony Martial. So, look, he'll probably flop now. I've probably jinxed him. But I've got to say, this encourages me that we're surely keeping Ronaldo. And also, well done to West Ham. I think it's a really, really intelligent, clever, good deal. And a lot of you might not know anything about him, but you probably will do in about 2 or 3 months, because I think he's going to be... obviously his first challenge is to dislodge Antonio, but which won't be easy. It won't be easy, but he's a very, very interesting striker. And as I say, I think that if Ronaldo had left, imagine Ronaldo had left in June and United had been happy to do that deal. This is the sort of deal I would have been all over, because he's completely different to Martial. He offers something very, very different. Why are we obsessed with a winger? If Ronaldo leaves, we're left with Martial up top, who's been crap for 6 years, says Sean Turner. Awful transfer window. There you go. Well, this is what I mean, though, Sean. I think Ronaldo has to stay now, because if Ronaldo goes, all right, we didn't get Haaland, we didn't get Darwin Núñez, but this lad's well worth a look, I think. UKG, thank you very much for becoming a member, and Sparky as well. Not a football question, but if you were to do Mastermind, what would be your special topic, says Stone. Well, let us know in the chat as well. You know what? If I was to do Mastermind, apart from football, which I'm obviously brilliant at, I I'd probably do Only Fools and Horses because I've watched every episode. I know it like the back of my hand. I really do. I think I'd do Only Fools and Horses. There's loads of things I'm very intelligent about. There's not a lot of things I don't know and I'm not good at. But yeah, I'd probably go with that. Evening, Mark. Do you think there's any chance we could sign Dumfries? I'm going to come to that now, Antony. Mark, no idea what the issue is. Reid de Jong and City of Manchester. Best city outside of London. And now looks like lower Manhattan. It's hardly Birmingham, says Megan's dad. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't really get that at all. Manchester's a fantastic. Manchester's a fantastic city. Yeah, I don't really get that. I mean, the weather's not great. It's not great, and it is better in London. You know, every time I go to London, it's always hot. But yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, he's Dutch. It's not like he's coming from the beaches of Mallorca, is he? He's not Rafael Nadal. If Ronaldo is staying, when do you think he will be asked to return, says Shane? Well, it depends what the personal issue is, Shane. What do you think of buying Antonio from West Ham, says Darren? Well, you know, you say that, Darren. Again, he offers something very different. I mean, he must be cracking on a bit now. He seems to have been around for ages. So, do you think the board thought they were getting Timber and de Jong earlier in the window? Not getting them maybe forced them to raise the budgets? Vacation. Yeah, well, look, the transfer window's not gone to plan. There's no doubt about that. Mark, where do you think this team could end up in the table if we're able to keep Ronaldo and bring in Antony and de Jong? Well, I spoke about that this afternoon, Scott. If we get Antony and de Jong to what we've got and we keep Ronaldo, I think we can fight for fourth. If we don't, I don't think we won't. Smart, cursing, Scamacca. Serious note, I'm not impressed with the transfer window so far. Arnold and Murta got to do something. Jealous of other clubs, says Lil. Well, look. If you've tuned in a little bit late, there is a bit of positive news. Had a great day today, great content, says Sean Luke. Glad to hear it. Always happy to hear people have had a good day. I love Ten Hag, says Neem. I don't want to get to the stage when he overachieves with the squad and the board underachieves with the transfers, which is what's happening at the moment, if we're honest. Bat, thank you for the super chat. So if you've tuned in a little bit late, transfer boost. Look, whether I want to say this or not, I have to deliver what I've been told. United have got the money for de Jong and Antony. The budget is bigger than 120 million. The budget is more like 170 million, and the money is there. Whether United can get those deals over the line, that's a different matter. But that's a positive. It's coming from very, very good information, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's discussed by other people over the weekend because it's very good information. Does that mean we're not going to buy a right back? Well, not necessarily, because United have got the money there right now to buy de Jong and then buy Antony if they can do a deal with Ajax. That money is there. They will spend it. Bang. They will spend that money in the knowledge that they're going to raise some money, and they would expect to raise in the region of 60 million quid. And they would raise that money through Pereira, 10, Brandon Williams, 15, Twansebi, 15, so that's 40, Eric Bay, 15, that's 55, and then maybe Tellez for another 10, which takes it to 65. So 65 million from them, right? That would take a spend of 170 down to 105. You then sell Wan-Bissaka for about 20, and then you buy Dumfries, and your net spend comes up to about 120. Do the maths, you know I'm right. So that's the plan. I think it's an achievable plan. I think you can get... We've already got 10 for Pereira. You can easily get 15 for Williams. You can get 15 for Bailly. You can get 15 for Twansebi. And you can get 10 for Tellez. If you then sell Wan-Bissaka for 20, you can also go and get Dumfries as well. I don't think all those things will happen, but that is the conceivable plan. And actually, you know what? All those things would end up with a net spend of about 120 million if you figure it out. Malacia, whatever we've paid, Lisandro Martinez and de Jong is about 120. Antony for about 60 is 180. Take away 65 is 115. Take away 20, Wan-Bissaka, 95. 25 on Dumfries is 120. I've explained it twice now. Considering so it can be done. It would take someone like myself or you to actually do that, and this is the challenge for Murta and Arnold, but it's very achievable. If you remind me at the end of the show, I'll go through the figures again. Considering Poch is available, do you feel with one bad patch of form and how the media is waiting to pounce on Ten Hag, there'll be another change? Rash, can I just say, I think you talk shit most of the time, but I respect you because you persevere with staying part of the community and talking that shit. And I respect you for that, you know, because you are strong with your opinions and I completely disagree with them, but you are firm and you keep coming. But you've actually made a good point there. One that I agree with. I think you've made a great point because you're right. If we did go through a bad patch, this media love Poch and they will be there saying Poch is available. We're all riding a buzz of positivity with Ten Hag and hopefully we can keep riding that. But we also know over the last 9 years there's been a lot of potholes, and when them potholes occur, the media start talking about Pochettino or sackings, and he is available. He is a backdrop. No one's talking about it at the moment, but Rash makes a great point. Pochettino is available. He's not just Man United's problem. Of course he's not just Manchester United's problem. He's also Frank Lampard's problem, Conte's problem, any other manager that loses a job. But he is potentially there in the background. I personally don't think it will happen because I think Ten Hag will have a good start to the season. But yeah, of course, he is there. What do you think about converting Telles into a left-sided centre-back? Jonathan, I think converting Telles into a left-sided centre-back is like converting a shit Formula 1 car into a good Formula 1 car. And that's probably the worst analogy I've ever done because I didn't think it through. But what I'm saying is, he's a shit left-back. Why would you convert him to an even shitter left centre-back? Like, you know, my mind's going blank. I can't think of anything because it's such a ridiculed comment. He's a crap left back. Like, why would he be a good left centre back? He can't bloody win the ball in the air for a start. He's not strong enough. Would you take back Dan James? No, Ajit. No, I wouldn't take back Dan James. I mean, he's not really set the world on fire at Leeds, has he? Off topic, but apart from Ronaldo and maybe De Gea, no player in this team would leave a lasting legacy on this club. Scary how far we've fallen, says Lee. Bit of positivity, Lee. Bit of positivity. You know, Ten Hag's trying to bring it back. Snide, thank you for the super chat. For the love of God, bored, forget Frankie de Jong. There are other good midfielders for his price. Could get 2 plus Antony and a right back for 170 million, says Friedman. Do you think we will wait until the end of the window trying to hold out for cheap deals? We always seem to do that and get made to look a fool, says Nick Warren. I don't think we're waiting to the end of the transfer window, no. I think we're trying to get deals done. They're just taking a long time as ever. Love the show, Mark. Can we do €100 charity bet on Frankie de Jong? I don't think he will come. 10% club, says James. Oh, no, we won't do, James, because you lot will never pay me and I'll end up paying thousands of pounds when he doesn't sign. Sup, Mark? Read the transfers. I can do it so easily in Football Manager. Why can't they do it in real life? Also, do you think Aaron Wan-Bissaka can do a job as right winger, says Rory C? Again, he can't do a job as right back, so how can he do a job as right wing? I mean, I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka would be better in goal than he is at right wing because at least he's good defensively. Sorry, Mark, but what about the wages of the list about the players you mentioned? Would that make us have to take less for those players we sell out so would we get less coming in? Says Snide. I wouldn't worry about the wages too much because we've saved bloody loads of money on wages. Pogba's wage, Cavani's wage. Of course, any player that we sell wage. I mean, Brandon Williams is on 50 grand a week, isn't he? You forgot to add 10 million for Ronaldo because he's not coming back, says John. Well, Ronaldo messes everything up. Ronaldo messes up that transfer theory I have up completely because you've got to find money for a striker then. I can't wait till we don't hear about Barcelona and their levers again. We've spent most of the summer being violated by them, says Nicholas. Mate, I'm not even a Chelsea fan. I'm wearing blue tonight because I'm just really happy that Chelsea have got Koundé. Like, at least somebody's got one over Barcelona and their bloody British bake-off summer. So many fingers in so many pies. Mark, with your knowledge and vast genre of music, did you ever consider becoming a radio DJ? Glad you decided on a United stance, says Mandy. Mandy, you actually are intelligent. You know, I don't think that about everybody, but you actually are clever because... I mean, I do my Talk Sports show at 8 o'clock on every Sunday night, which is, you know, obviously I do very well at that. You know, I've done national radio now and I presented my own show and you can tune in every night at 8 o'clock. But What I'd be even better at is as a radio DJ. And I'm stunned. I check my email inbox every day. I check my WhatsApp. I check everything. And I've still not been contacted by Radio 1 or Magic. I mean, I'd be brilliant on Magic because I've got a wide knowledge of music. I can go from ABBA to the Stone Roses. I can go from Take That to Oasis. You know, my music knowledge, and yeah, it would be Dancing Queen to Made of Stone. You know, it would be Could It Be Magic Now to Wonderwall, which I don't actually like. I'd never play Wonderwall. Why are you convinced about Ten Hag? He's only gone after players he's coached. That reeks of incompetence, says Ronaldo's accountant. Tired of seeing Erik Ten Hag signing players he knows being framed as lack of imagination. Biggest issue last year was mentality. Simply signing talented players isn't good enough, says two Pasakas. Good evening, Goldridge, says Mizanu. I meant since Wan-Bissaka and Bay are on high wages, would we have to now take less to move them on? Yes, Snide, yes. So we would be lucky to get 25 million for Wan-Bissaka. We paid 50 million pounds for him 3 years ago. So we will have to take a cheaper fee. Remember how big it was when United won the 91 Winners' Cup? Can you imagine the scenes when United win the Champions League or the Premier League? Says Trading with Kieran. Mate, you talk about winning the Winners' Cup in 91. I remember it. And if we won the Europa League next May, that would be as big because we haven't won a bloody trophy in years. Rather have United or Barca's board and front office, says Nate. And yeah, they've done a good job. Mark, if we convert Maguire into a CDM, Tellez into a left centre-back, Bruno into a striker, Aaron Wan-Bissaka into a right winger and Van der Beek into a goalkeeper, then we could win the league, says Gray. Can you really not see the fact that Ten Hag's system is more fluid and it's not like any player only can play one position, says Amir. And Mark, who do we need Frankie when Fred is doing amazing? Ericsson played 8 at Brentford. Donny is back. No, we do. Look, distinct. I think you Joel Glazer in disguise. Oh, you Glazer in disguise. Of course we need a bloody midfielder. We've just sold Matic and Pogba and replaced them with no one, and our midfield was crap last year. Mark, we say we get De Jong and Antony. Do you think we have a chance of getting another midfielder this summer? No. No, and I think that's a very good question, Bradley. I don't think we're buying another midfielder I don't think we're buying another midfielder if we don't get De Jong. I certainly don't think we're buying another midfielder if we do. Mark, could you please talk about the Mirror's article talking about De Jong cleaning out his locker? It's about 2 months old, Manu. I expect us to achieve 75 points or more and have a strong home record with few draws or losses against lower teams, says Red. Thank you very much there, Red. Thank you very much for that. Salah Ahmed says, is Koundé's height going to be an issue like Martinez? Hopefully they don't, as both are quality players. Those height comments are a load of crap, let's be honest. They are, aren't they, though? I mean, I just don't believe in it. I don't believe in it at all. There was something I wanted to say and I've completely forgotten it now because people are throwing so many good comments at me. Ronaldo has cut off his nose to spite his face. Too good, mate. If he comes back, he'll be straight back in that team. I don't know who people think who people think we are. Like, he will go straight back into that team. I guarantee it. How are Barca able to sign all these players when they are £1 billion in debt? Don't let it worry you, Nathan. Don't let it worry you. Don't let it worry you. I personally can't wait to watch Ericsson, says Sparky. Right, I'm just going to give you some news here. I'm actually going to put something up on the screen because this has come in tonight and it's, you know, it's topical. This is the Ajax manager. He says, are you afraid that... Well, this is his words. Afraid? I'm going to do it in a voice. Afraid that Antony could leave? No. We have sold a certain amount of players and I'm expecting nobody else to leave. We talk on a daily basis. It would be bad for us if we lose another starting player. I don't know what accent that was, but I enjoyed it and I may do it again. So, I was so wrapped up in the accent I didn't actually compute the words. So what is he saying? Something about... What did he talk about? Afraid of Antony could leave. No, we have sold a certain amount of players and I'm expecting nobody else to leave. We talk on a daily basis. It'd be bad for us if... You know, I mean, you can read that how you want. Is he in denial? You know, is he in Egypt? Or is he right? Is he in control or is he not? I don't know. You know, the thing is, right, I don't have sources within Ajax, but I know people who do. And I know from May, Antony was the player they expected to sell. David Neres was mentioned. They did this with David Neres. They waited too long to sell him and his price plummeted. Now is the time to sell Antony. I don't think... Like, put it this way. They want 70 million for Antony. Pounds. 70 million they want, right? They ain't never getting 70 million pounds in a year's time. Now, they might be quite happy with that. They might be like, well, we don't want to sell him anyway. We'll happily sell him for 50 next year. All right, maybe we should wait a year. I don't think we should, but maybe we should. Maybe they're putting a stupid price on it because they really, really don't want to sell him. But they won't get 70 million pounds in a year. So now's the time to sell. Hi Mark, if you could if they want money, if they want a good price, now's the time to sell. Hi Mark, if you could compare yourself to any manager out there, who would it be? You personally remind me of Frank de Boer. Well, Matt, there are some clips of me being a manager, and I do lose my temper, and I do start doing naughty things. Like, there is a clip of me saying, "Who are you? Never even heard of you," and stuff like that, and shouting and swearing. So, are you concerned that Erik ten Hag is signing players he's coached in the past? Lou van Gaal got Dutch players, Blind and Depay, and they didn't have much of an impact. Varane, you're not the first person to say this tonight, and I'm glad that you've reminded me of it, because somebody said it earlier. Apologies to that person if I didn't reply, because I clearly didn't. I've said this before. I get people's trepidation and fear about Ten Hag only signing players that he knows. But what is he supposed to do? He comes into the job in the middle of May. He gets given a list of players by the club scouts that he doesn't know or rate. And then he's got a whole summer ahead of him where he either goes, well, let's wait a year and I'll work with what I've got. Or he actually says, get me these players. Like, United wanted him to go for Pau Torres. And he said, no, I want Lisandro Martinez after Timber. There was other players that were suggested as well. I don't think it's great to go and buy a load of players that you know, because we're quite Dutch Eredivisie heavy, aren't we, on all his targets. You know, they're either from the Eredivisie or the Dutch, simple as that. And most of them he's managed. That's not great, but in his first summer, he needs players. If he did it again next summer, I probably would agree with people and say this is a bit odd. But I think he's had to do it because he's got to go with what he knows, because he hasn't got time to send scouts out to say, find me a left-footed left-back who likes to invert and has potential to become top class. He hasn't got the time to go and get somebody out to do that. So he'll go, well, I know this lad from Feyenoord, Malacia. I know it's not ideal, but I understand why it's happened. Mark, the Mirror's article about De Gea cleaning out his locker is from today. It includes the Depay going to United as well. Yeah, but he cleaned out his locker in May as well, mate, because that Romero mentioned that. Mark, I expected more from you. I can't believe you've fallen for the budget increase from the club. They just know De Jong ain't coming, says Sean Turner. Mate, I've not fallen for anything. I've not fallen for anything. I'm not fallen for anything at all. Can I say that again? I've not fallen for anything. All I'm telling you is this information I got this evening is very, very good information. I believe it will probably get reported over the next few days by other outlets. And that story is... Look, we've agreed a fee with De Jong. And we've got the money to go and get another player as well. That takes the budget beyond 120, way beyond 150. Whether we get those deals done or not, that's on the club. And I will agree with you, Sean, and I will say Judgment Day will come, and it will be September the 1st when the transfer window closes. And if we add everything up and our spend is 120 million, then reap the whirlwind, Sheriff Woodward. You know, he's gone. Reap the whirlwind, Sheriff Arnold and Deputy Sheriff Murta, because you're going to get a load of shit. But, you know, I'm just trying to spin a positive here, that's what I've been told. Let's see what they do. If they don't do it, it doesn't matter. You know, it really doesn't matter. If I buy a pair of trainers and I practice to win the London Marathon and I don't win it, I didn't win it. But if I do, I told you I was. Let's see if they run the marathon. Let's see if they talk the talk. Have you noticed an improvement in attacking set pieces in pre-season because they have been so bad? No, Rory, I haven't actually. We had quite a few corners in the last 3 games, and I don't think we've nearly scored any of them. I think Maguire had one header, didn't he, from a corner? But you know, you never know with Maguire. It's like pissing in the wind. It depends which way the wind's blowing. You can't direct it. But I don't think we're any better yet. It's an intelligent point actually. Are we going to be better at set pieces under Ten Hag? I don't know. I don't know whether he'll be focusing on that as much as he'll be focusing on possession. initially. You can't do everything. You know, you can't spend a day working on set pieces when you're trying to get the team to pass the ball properly. Miguel, thank you very much for the super chat. Mark, how many heads and handles does Trigger claim that his same broom has had? Oh, that's a good question, Mandy. You've caught me out there. Is it 32 or 42? Who's going down this season, Mark? My bets are Bournemouth, Everton and Southampton. Fulham are going down. Clem. Fulham are going down. Bournemouth are going down. And yeah, I've got a funny feeling that Forest will actually stay up because of the money they're spending. Max Thorpe says, I've heard people talking about Martinez's height. But to me, it's about positioning, not height. I've got another one for you, Max. It's not how big it is, it's what you do with it. Similar sort of thing. Miguel, Mark, how much would it take for a boxing match between you and Jamie Carragher? I would not mind setting up a GoFundMe for this. Do it for us. I doubt Jamie Carragher even knows who I am, Miguel. So, yeah. And Carragher actually does do boxing. I don't. I'd rather have a game of chess. I'll beat him at a game of chess. LG says, years of bad transfer windows and the board have not learned. De Jong is world class, but we need multiple good players for the squad, not a single star. Still not over Zakaria for 8 mil. Keep it simple, says LJ. Look, I've said this many times, and people in the chat have said this many times as well. We've got no right to sign Frankie de Jong. We don't. Like, we were rubbish last year. We've got no right to sign a player of this quality, and if we do it, it's an amazing signing for the status of this club and where it is at the moment. Who knew Stone Island did toddler clothing? Says Foldy. We should get Axel Zagadou so 70k fans can sing his name to the Agadou song. Says Raz. Apparently Zagadou is going to... I mean, it's another player that somebody was saying United were in for a couple of days ago. We were never in for him, and now he's going to a different club. Hi Mark, if Ronaldo leaves, does a DM still stay priority over forward? Well, we need both praise. We do need both. I've got to do this or I'll really, really annoy myself. Because remember, tomorrow morning we're doing a watch along. I think we're live tomorrow from 9:45, an hour before kick-off. I think we kick off at 10:45 tomorrow against Villa, UK time. So we'll be live tomorrow morning quite early. Don't forget to tune in for that. But I do just want to go through some David De Gea comments because we've not spoken about tactics, have we? David De Gea on the discipline improving in the squad. I agree we needed more culture, a better culture of football, or just thinking about football, nothing else. I like this from David De Gea because he's a professional. He is a professional. He doesn't do a lot of brand work. He doesn't do a lot of PR. Obviously, he's a foreign player, so he doesn't get a lot of protection from the media. And he's absolutely spot on here. We needed more culture, a better culture of football, just thinking about football, nothing else. That's a direct dig at players in that dressing room who spend too much time thinking about PR and brands. He also said that we show against Palace, we built from the back really well and scored some goals as well. Good goals at that. But this was the thing I wanted to say about De Gea, because he's absolutely correct. And whatever you think about De Gea, and he said, look, when I used to play under Sir Alex, when I played for the national team, passing out from the back, I can do it. I'm not adapting my game, I can do it. Well, he's got to walk the walk there. He can talk the talk, but he's got to walk the walk. I believe De Gea is going to be a lot better distributor of the ball this season, and I think he can do it as well. I think he fell off over the last 3 years because Solskjaer's style of football was abysmal. But this is so true. And look, I'd expect De Gea to say this anyway, but it is very true. He said if you want to play from the back, you need a good structure. You need a lot of options, especially from the guys who are at the back. Now, anybody who knows football, anybody who watches football, will say that David De Gea's distribution isn't that great. And it wasn't that great last season, and I can admit that. But what I also saw, and I kept saying this, is that when De Gea got the ball last season, it wasn't like the fullbacks were dropping to the edge of the box each side and Lindelof and Maguire were coming to the edge of the box to give him an angle. Most of the time, they were turning their back on him and looking the other way. So he had to hit it long. Like, I kept saying this, and it's so true. If you can be asked to go and watch 90 minutes of 4 or 5 games from last year, you won't see it. You won't see what happens with Liverpool or what happens with Man City or any other team that plays out the back. The back four basically surrounds the penalty box. The left back goes right to the edge of the left side of the box. The right back goes to the right, to the edge of the right backs. The centre backs create angles. So there's always a pass. And the midfield boxes in as well. You watch us last season, the amount of players that turn their back. I mean, McTominay hides from the centre backs. Do you think he's coming anywhere near the bloody goalkeeper? So De Gea is right. Look, it's open season on whether De Gea is a sweeper keeper. I agree with that. Let's see what he can do. But that doesn't make him wrong in what he's saying there. So many times last season, De Gea had the ball and he's had to kick it long because the fullbacks, they ain't. I mean, was Wan-Bissaka ever dropping for an angle? Was Maguire or Lindelof dropping for angles? They weren't. It went to the keeper. They were turning their back and thinking, just kick it long, give us a rest. They didn't want to play out from the back. And most importantly, Solskjaer didn't want to play out from the back either. Looking forward to the first Saturday watch along. It's like a normal Saturday. Love footy being back, says Raz. Yep. And evening, Mark. Hope you're well. Scamacca reportedly going to West Ham for 40 million. Do you think we should try another hijack deal, says Job? You know, I do think that if Ronaldo had left, that would have been worth a punt at 30 million quid. I do. We won't. I don't think he's on the register at all for United, but West Ham could have a really good deal there. There's a lot of if, buts and maybes. Maybe he doesn't start ahead of Antonio. Maybe he doesn't adapt to the Premier League, but he is something very different. And what United need is something different to whoever the striker's going to be. Whether it's Martial, whether it's Ronaldo, you need something different. Now, if we've got Martial and Ronaldo, I think they are very different. But if we haven't got Ronaldo, I think Scamacca would have been a very good signing. What's your opinion on the Palace right winger? My opinion is he's a good backup to the failure of not being able to get Antony, who is also left-footed, says Edward. I mean, you know what, Edward, and everybody else, if we don't get Antony or we get priced out of Antony, we still need to buy a winger. And we still need to buy a left-footed winger. Who do you go for? You know, I know I'm putting people on the spot, but who do you go for? I mean, the only player that comes to mind for me, and he would be cheap, is Ziyech. But I don't think I want somebody of that age profile. Do you get Ziyech for a year and go back for Antony? It might not be a bad idea, but it depends how much Chelsea want for Ziyech. But if you're not going to get Antony, you've got to have a backup. I know he says he hasn't got a backup for Frenkie de Jong and he doesn't want a backup because he only wants Frenkie de Jong, but we can't do that with the Antony situation because we've just not got enough players up front. Hi Mark, everyone keeps saying Martinez is going to be a centre-back. Personally, I think he's going to be a CDM. You might be right, Twisted, but I think you're wrong. Hi Mark, hope you're well today. Is it Nanny? Says Rob. Tomorrow's match against Villa will give a better idea of where we're improving the game, says Ack. Look, I'm glad we're talking about this towards the end of the stream because I'm really excited about this game tomorrow. I said this before we played Palace. Palace's squad ain't good. They've left a lot of players at home. Villa have got their best squad with them. I mean, unless Villa buy a couple of players when they get back, they've got their best squad with them. They've got Coutinho, they've got Ings, they've got Kamara, they've got the new centre-back, they've got Ramsey. They've got all their good players. If we beat Villa tomorrow 2 or 3-0, I will be very, very impressed. And I expect us to do it. Because I think our fitness levels are going to be better. The big thing I think tomorrow, and I'm really hoping we can have 70% possession, more shots, more passes, but I think we're going to be fitter than them. I think Ten Hag let it slip in the press conference, but I think it's also obvious as well. He knows that he's got to have a good start. And how do you have a good start? You have the fittest team. And I don't know when everybody else started their training, but remember we started a week earlier than we were going to do it. Would you drop Sancho for Antony? Him and Deleo have a good thing. No, I'd put Sancho on the left and drop Rashford, Omar. No, I'm not dropping Sancho. I mean, all due respect to Rashford, I'm not dropping Sancho. Sancho can go on the left and Antony can go on the right. Mark, what is your favourite all-time United song or chant? Says Darren. And Mark, if you have to sign one player from each top 6 club, who would it be? Says Football Content. And I'm not answering that. It'd take me too long. I've been De Gea's biggest critic when it comes to everything that isn't shot stopping, but from what I've seen so far in pre-season, he seems to be working on his positioning when to play sweeper keeper, says Trevor Jones. And also, hi Mark, love the channel. Would you take Pulisic for 40 million, says Dale. You know what, I like Pulisic, and I think United should have gone there, especially with the American market, which, you know, I think that was a no-brainer for United. I don't know why we didn't go for Pulisic, but to be honest with you, and I'm sure Chelsea fans would agree, I think there's a very good player there, but his injury record terrifies me, so I wouldn't go near him, no. Lee says, hypothetical, but if Ronaldo stays and we sign Frankie de Jong, who do you think Erik ten Hag would build his team around? Ronaldo for now or Frankie de Jong for the future? I don't think either of those things are mutually exclusive. I mean, you build your midfield through de Jong and you score your goals through Ronaldo. Your goalkeeper's there to stop goals. Your centre-backs are there to keep the line high. De Jong is there to progress the ball and Ronaldo's there to put it in the net. I don't think you build a team around either, really. I know that's a phrase that's coined quite a lot, where you build a team around one player, but you don't really build your team around one player. If you build your team around Frankie de Jong and you put bloody, I don't know, a Preston North End striker up front, you're not going to score goals. Like, there's got to be lots of components to a team. You can't just have Frankie de Jong. One friendly and the Hendo lovers are out. At crap teams, he gets more shots at him. De Gea is better, says Dazza. That's going to rumble all season, you know. The Henderson thing, they won't let it go because they're obsessed by that conversation. I mean, I've got no interest in it. He's at Forest. I hope he does well. We haven't seen even kicked a ball. I said this before and I don't want to do this. I do not want to do this. We've got a new manager and he needs our support. We do not need De Gea versus Henderson. We do not need Bruno versus Eriksen. We do not need Malacia versus Shaw. We do not need those things. We need to try and make this work. And look, I want Varane to start over Harry Maguire. I expect him to start with Harry Maguire. I don't agree with it, but let's get on with it. There may be a very good reason for that. I don't see how you... Look, there's nobody who can sit me down on this. There has never been a day, and there never will be a day, that Harry Maguire is a better player than Raphael Varane. There never will be. Raphael Varane is one of the best centre-backs in the world. I'm absolutely convinced of it. But I'd also believe there is an injury issue there. I do not think he can play 2 games a week. I do not think he can. Harry Maguire can. And I've always said, if you've got one player who can play 90% of your games and he's a 7 out of 10, and you've got a centre-back who's a 9 out of 10 but he can only play 50% of your games, you've got to go with the one who's 7 out of 10 because he's more available. And maybe that's what it's about. I don't know. So I don't want to really get involved in these stupid, petty arguments about Henderson versus De Gea. I don't believe that has the best interests of Manchester United at heart, because I do not believe it's that obvious that Henderson is better than De Gea. I do not believe it's a major injustice that he's on loan at Nottingham Forest. I think he's where he needs to be. If Dean Henderson was so good, why is he not at Newcastle? Why did they go for Pope? Like, he has got his career to rebuild, and I wish him all the best. And he's at a decent place where he's going to be very busy, where he can rebuild his career. I don't need to hear about Henderson's better than De Gea, because Henderson's fighting in a team that's trying to stay up. We're trying to get into the top 4. I just don't think we need those sort of conversations at the moment. Trevor says, I've been De Gea's biggest critic when it comes to everything that isn't... Oh, no, I've done that one, thank you. Ed, welcome to the Members Club. Could go for Diaby from Leverkusen. He's left-footed and good, says Nathan Allen. And who do you see as a replacement to Ronaldo if he stays? We still need to replace him long-term. Vlahovic, says Nick. Well, he's only just moved, hasn't he? It won't be him. Look, I said it a couple of times tonight. Scamacca would have been a very, very, very interesting replacement for Ronaldo. And for £30 million, I think he's a bargain. So we may well have missed out on a Ronaldo replacement there, because I think a lot of people who know what Scamacca's all about, if Ronaldo had gone to Atletico Madrid and we'd bought Scamacca for 30 million, I wouldn't have liked it, but I would have gone, you know what, that's not bad. That's not bad. So, you know, but obviously that's not going to be the case, is it? That's not going to be the case. So it is what it is. It is what it is, and that's where we are. And I think it's a very good deal for West Ham. I really do. So well done. And you know, the interesting thing about West Ham as well is that I think West Ham have overachieved the last couple of years under David Moyes, and I thought they'd fall off this year. Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. Thanks everyone for watching. Please smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. Do not forget that tomorrow morning we're live very early. I think it's a 10:45 kickoff, so we'll be live at 9:45 with the team news. Tune in tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe so you get your notification, or remember, it's up to you. Really enjoyed the show tonight. Friday night's always good. LJ says we've been deprived of good attacking football for years, and I'm starting to see a glimpse of this from Ten Hag, says LJ. Don't miss the game tomorrow. It's going to be the best game of pre-season so far. I would argue it's our hardest game of pre-season. Forget Atletico Madrid and Real Vallecano. I think they'll be interesting, but I don't think their fitness levels will be the same as Villa, because their season doesn't start for another week after ours. I think we'll be too fit for Atletico Madrid and Real Vallecano. But Villa tomorrow, strong squad for Villa, Premier League side who've got to be ready in 2 weeks like we are. I think it's going to be very, very interesting tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I would have gambled on Scamacca and Belotti double transfer, says Mohammed. Well, thanks everyone. You're a bunch of legends in the chat. Always love every show, but Friday night's always a little bit different. So thanks everyone for watching. We'll have a similar show tomorrow night, actually. Saturday night will be the same, actually, 8 o'clock tomorrow. And forget movie night and get on Fall Guys, mate. Well, you can vote for that on the poll tomorrow night, Pierre Scott, because as soon as the 8 o'clock show finishes tomorrow, I'm either doing a movie night watch along or I'll do Fall Guys. So you lot can vote. Belfast boys, De Jong is coming, says Raven, heads wrecked. Good night. Enjoy yourself, mate. Can you say Shahin's not good at Call of Duty, says Kamani. Shahin, you're shit at Call of Duty. Speak to you all later. Thanks for watching.